Hello everyone. Today I'm going to tell you a movie called Sanctuary 2015. Enjoy watching. The film is based on real events. The film begins in 1968. The main character's name is Wolfgang. He drives through the streets and remembers a summer day on the beach where he was with his mother. Stopping near the house, he meets friends, and not far away he notices his stepfather, with whom their relationship is not going well. And a pregnant mother with the boy's younger sister brings cakes to the children. Wolfgang takes his friends to his room, where he shows them an adult magazine. But suddenly the stepfather comes into the room and hits the boy for it, and mom starts to stand up for her son. Later, Wolfgang gets into a van that will take him to the Fristad camp for troubled teenagers. Mom promises her son that they will take him back home before Christmas. The guy is being driven to the countryside. When he arrives, he notices the owner of the house. His name is Brockman, and next to it is a building with bars on all the windows. The owner asks the guy to sing first, then asks about his hobby. The man examines the boy's dossier, where the behavior is indicated somewhat worse than it actually is, but the guy denies everything and says that his stepfather exaggerated it all, since he dislikes him. But his characterization also indicates that he has a tendency to lie. Wolfgang gets new clothes in the communal shower. Later, other teenagers of different ages come there, who were also sent to this camp by their parents. They all take showers under the supervision of their elders. Their names are Wild and Crap. After taking a shower, teenagers go to dinner. There, a piece of bread is taken away from Wolfgang, and then he notices that everyone's portions of food are different. And the largest portion of food will go to Bernd, the most important among teenagers. After the prayer, the children begin to eat, and Wolfgang notices that the food of the educators is completely different, much better than that of the children. When Bernd lights Wild's cigarette, they are all allowed to talk. Anton tries to make friends with the main character of the film, but their conversation is interrupted. In the evening, Wolfgang notices how another guy is being punished for violations, and because of this, everyone's dinner was cut short. The perpetrator is beaten, but the newly minted guy cannot watch this and stands up to defend the other, for which Bernd beats him and smears his face with wax. After everyone has left, Wolfgang tries to talk to the one he stood up for, but he only aggresses at him and pushes him away. The teenagers sleep in the dormitory, where Crap watches over them. Wolfgang hides a photo of his mother under his pillow, and Anton comes up to him a little bit like that and offers to become his friend and share food and cigarettes with him in exchange for protection, but the guy refuses the offer. In the morning, after everyone has lined up, the director comes out. After he has greeted everyone, he orders them to sing a song and march. The children go to work. In the field, teenagers chop briquettes for subsequent sale. Wolfgang has rubber slippers instead of boots, which make it extremely inconvenient to do the job. When he asks for boots for himself, they hit him in the face with a shovel and start drowning him in the mud. Even Crap can't stand it and starts defending the teenager. On the way back, the guy breaks the trolley mechanism with a belt and runs away. Soon he falls into the swamp, begins to drown, but fortunately he manages to get out. Wild and the dog start looking for him. Wolfgang doesn't stop and falls into quicksand, where he gets stuck. That's how Wild finds the guy and calls him back to the camp. There, teenagers take turns beating Wolfgang, but when it's over, the guy is left alone in the shower and crying. Then Crap puts him to bed. Bernd, approaching the newcomer, explains to him that all the rules must be followed, otherwise it will be bad. Wolfgang begins to object and says that he will be taken away soon, but the parents told all the children here in the same way. That's why some of them have been here for several years. The next day, the teenagers are taken to church. This is how Wolfgang notices Angelica. She is the daughter of the director. Although she lives near the camp, she is forbidden to communicate with the children who are here. After the end of the working day, Crap allows the guys to stay and swim in the swamp area, which the students are very happy about. And in the evening, the children are allowed to write a letter to their parents, but only under dictation, so that they do not write anything superfluous and do not spoil the reputation of the institution. At the moment, Wolfgang hides a piece of pencil for personal use. Sometime later, while working in the garden, the guy notices Angelica, whose chain has fallen off her bike. Approaching her, he repairs her bike and at the same time asks her to send a letter to his parents. But the girl asks for a return favor and puts his hand on her chest. At this moment, the director notices them and the girl begins to blame the guy for everything, pushing him and insulting him. The angry director decides to leave all the teenagers without dinner as punishment. But as an apology, the guy promises the others that he will be able to get them all food from the director's garden. He gets in there and steals tomatoes, But Brockman notices the guy again and starts drowning him in a container of water, and then instructs Wilde to beat him up. When a barely alive body is brought into the room, one small tomato is found in his fist. Formally, he fulfilled the promise and thereby earned the respect of his peers. When the day off comes, teenagers listen to music and have fun. Then the director appears and says that he found a letter from his daughter. He asks Wolfgang to read it aloud, and as punishment, he takes away the radio. But Anton does not lose heart and decides to sing songs himself, which is why his guys start supporting him and also sing. Krapp reports this to the director, but he opens Wolfgang's parcel and eats the natural ones that his parents sent him, not forgetting to offer a piece to the tutor. Meanwhile, the guys are sitting in the basement after the riot. As Bernd says, only those children who are not even remembered by their parents and do not write letters to them are sitting in this basement. During the service in the church, Angelica passes the key to Wolfgang through a donation bag. At the festive dinner, the children are given cakes, but the guy guesses that these are stolen cakes from parcels that the director opens. One of the boys gives Krapp a gift that he made with his own hands, and taking this as an excuse, Krapp announces that he is resigning from the position of educator. This news brings the boy to tears, and because of this, the director realizes that they had some kind of special relationship, which is why he hits Krapp and expels him. To dilute the atmosphere, the priest suggests singing, but Wolfgang takes advantage of the moment to escape, sneaking out through the dark corridor. But even then, the director catches him, and as punishment, he hangs him up. Being in a serious condition, he dreams about how they spent the summer with his mother on the beach, which clearly raises many questions. When Wolfgang is released, he finds out that they already have a new tutor. A little later, when the guys are dragging logs, Angelica comes to them and asks to talk alone with Wolfgang. She warns that she needs to leave for school and kisses the guy, but when he reciprocates, the girl pushes him away again and runs away. While working, Wilde begins to bully one of the teenagers. Wolfgang, unable to stand it, hits him on the head and urges everyone to run. But everyone except Anton refuses the offer and stays put. The guys run into an area covered with swamp, which is why Anton loses his boots there. After reaching the abandoned railway, they manage to walk along it and reach the village, where they spent the night in a barn. In the morning, the teenagers see the owner leading the horse into the cart and decide to climb up to her. The car brings them to the city. Wolfgang, having reached his house, is sold with Anton, but he stays with him. As it turned out, this is not his hometown and he has no relatives. Wolfgang gives the last change to Anton and leaves, as he does not want to mess with him. Looking out the window of his house, the guy notices his mother there, who has already had a baby. Mom is very happy about her son's return, but not the stepfather. He wants to bring him back to the camp, but the guy won't let him do it. He talks about how he almost died there. Due to the fact that he was distracted by breakfast, he did not have time to tell everything that was happening there. At this moment, Principal Brockman arrives, who has been informed of the teenager's whereabouts. And outside the house is the director's car, in which Anton is already sitting. Confused, Wolfgang shouts that he will not come back anymore. But everyone comes to a compromise. Mom herself will come and see what is happening in this camp. After reaching Fristad, the guy gets out of the car and then the stepfather locks the door. It turns out they weren't going to get out of the car. In a panic, the guy lifts his sweater to show the bruises from the beatings, but Mom leaves anyway. He tries to catch up with the car, but it doesn't work out. At this moment, Wilde appears, who lost his eye after being stung with a shovel, and grabs Wolfgang. Together with Bernd, they take him to the forest, and Anton watches all this from the window. After driving away into the forest, the teacher forces the teenager to dig a hole. After the pit is dug, Wilde orders Bernd to tie Wolfgang up and bury him alive. Although he clearly does not want to do this, he first agrees and then refuses. Wilde gets angry and decides to bury him himself. After the job is done, they leave. A little later, the director arrives at this place and digs up the guy, who, having come to his senses, begins to cry and fight in his arms. The next day, Wolfgang wakes up in the dormitory to the voice of Bernd, who reads a letter saying that someone will be picked up by their parents tomorrow. This is Anton's letter, which was found on his body. He hanged himself last night. Wilde, noticing the body, calls the guy a weakling and tells the others to go wash up. But the children don't want to obey him and Bernd pushes him. Wilde tries to subdue the children, but they just start beating him up. Everything but not Wolfgang, because he doesn't care about everything that happens or even about Anton. The children, having taken the keys from Wilde, run away. Bernd asks Wolfgang if he's gonna run, but he just keeps standing there. August 1970 is coming. Wolfgang lights a cigarette for Wilde as the elders do. After breakfast, everyone goes out to build, and the guy is left in the building. In the next scene, we are shown how he goes to the van, taking a suitcase with him. As it turned out, his stepfather died and no one else pays for his upkeep in the camp, and now he is being sent back home. And a new guy is coming to the camp. Wolfgang is dropped off near the house. He goes to the backyard where his sister's voice is heard and notices a table with cakes there. Then a little boy comes out into the yard. After looking at him, the guy takes one of the cakes and leaves. On the street, he meets his old friends, from whom he asks for money in debt. When they call him for a walk, he tells them that he will be at home. But his neighbor, who is now dating one of his friends, says that she will visit him soon, and her boyfriend notices a cake in Wolfgang's hand and takes it away, which is why he hits him and runs away. At the end of the film, the guy rides on a train and sticks his head out the window, watching the work of the campers. But Wolfgang is moving forward, because he has decided to start a new free life, not tied to anyone or anything and belonging to himself. And then they show us a certificate stating that Fristad was considered the harshest boarding camp until 1970. Let me know in the comments what you think about this movie and what you think about this camp. Thanks for watching.